After the night that was on January 13th, where we had 16 NHL games available to watch, today we only have 2 games, the Rangers and the Capitals, and the Red Wings and the Maple Leafs. Now, the thing is, this Red Wings and Leafs game actually got pushed back. There was a snowstorm, so the Red Wings were not actually able to leave the airport on time, and now, taking a look at the tweet made by Chris Johnston, this is the update. Tonight's Leafs and Red Wings game has been pushed back to 7:30 p.m. It sounds like the winter storm affected Detroit's travel plans. Reply from Mikey Stevens says the Red Wings are currently, so at the time of the tweet, which was 10:52 a.m., PST, by the way, so 1:52 p.m. in the East. The Red Wings were stuck in Detroit, and they weren't expected to arrive in Toronto until roughly 4:30. Getting from the airport to downtown Toronto for a 7 p.m. puck drop just wasn't feasible. So, we still do have the game at the time of recording this audio, it's just pushed back. So everything is going to change, this is going to mess up with the TV scheduling and everything, but for now, the Maple Leafs are in a pretty tough spot as they wait for their opponent to arrive to the rink. However, this is not the biggest story from the Toronto Maple Leafs because, as we had said yesterday, there were 16 games on tap. The Maple Leafs played the Colorado Avalanche last night, and they lost 5-3 in regulation. Now, this loss was not particularly great because at the end of the first period, it was actually 3-0 Toronto. Domi, Riley, and Liljegren all scored unassisted goals. And heading into the remainder of the game, a lot of Leafs fans were up on their high horse. Yep, we've got a 3-0 lead. We've just got to shut things down. We've got to do our thing. And then Jonathan Drouin scored. And then Mikko Rantanen scored. And then the third period began. And then you had Cogliano, McKinnon, and Ross Colton bury the hatchet and seal the deal. 5-3 win for Colorado. That McKinnon goal with 3 minutes to go in regulation was an absolute dagger. You could see the body language just shut out of the building there. And Nathan McKinnon is the guy who does it all. He has, how many points does he have in this game? He's got 2? Yeah, he's got 2 points, a goal and an assist, which is not uncharacteristic of him. The Maple Leafs lost 5-3. But interesting thing about this entire game was the deployment and usage of some of the top guys, in particular, their captain Johnny T. And it was so bad that head coach Sheldon Keefe actually called out this entire line in the post-game presser. Here's an article from The Score after the game last night, and I didn't cover this. I wanted to, but I didn't because I was kind of preoccupied with a few other things. Take a look at this quote from Keefe in the title of this piece. The Tavares line didn't have one good shift. That line was not good for us at all tonight. They didn't have one good shift that I can remember. Here is the advanced analytics. The trio of Captain Johnny T, Nylander, and Tyler Bertuzzi produced a paltry expected goal share of just 14.7% when on the ice together at 5-on-5 on Saturday. That is terrible. My goodness. Anything under 50% is like, okay, you're already getting outchanced. 50% is even. It means that you get the same amount of scoring chances that the opposite team gets when you are on the ice. Having an above 50% goal share is like, okay, great, like, you are out expected goals-ing the opposition when you're on the ice. But 14.7, that is terrible. It means the opposing team is just getting expected goal after expected goal after expected goal. If we do the math here, okay, 14 over 100, let's just divide that up to 7 out of 50. 7 out of 50, that's roughly 7 out of 49, that's roughly 1 out of 7. For every 1 expected goal that you get, the opposition gets 7. That's terrible, dude. Like, I cannot even begin to fathom how bad of an expected goal share that is for one line. And it's John Tavares, William Nylander, and Tyler Bertuzzi. Like, that is a good set of players, or at least it should be. Sheldon Keefe later decided to move Nylander away from that Tavares line, and the result was right here. Jonas Segal went out there and tweeted this: the third period ice time from yesterday's Toronto and Colorado game. Mitch Marner, 9:49. William Nylander, 8:56. Austin Matthews, 7:49. So they got a lot of minutes. William Nylander got moved. Yarncrow, Domi, and Kampf were in the 4 to 6 minute range. Holmberg was at 3:55, and then you have John Tavares at 3:18, Noah Gregor at 3:15, Bobby McMahon 2:23, Matthew Nyes 2:14, and Tyler Bertuzzi 1:21. Now, Keefe did make a comment in the post-game presser about having to move Nylander from that duo of Tavares and Bertuzzi because it just wasn't working, but even some of the replies here on Twitter, hey, Nylander was brutal tonight. Who else goes out there and says this was minor league bench management? The Leafs were leading or tied for 16 minutes and 35 seconds of the third, and they didn't get a power play in the period. Under that situation, a team should be rolling 3 lines and spotting a 4th line. Is it any wonder that Austin Matthews got beat back down on the ice on the go-ahead goal? And that's part of the thing that you could talk about too, because a lot of people were bringing this up, but that line looked super exhausted at the end of the game. I mean, Mitch Marner played half of the whole gosh darn third period, and Nylander and Matthews were close behind. If we go back to the article, it talks about that same thing, that Keefe moved Nylander to the top line with Tavares and Marner. I just thought putting our best people together, going best on best to give us a chance to keep the puck away from Nathan MacKinnon and Cale Makar a little bit more could help us. But then if you take a look at the other distributions here, Bertuzzi played 1 shift in the third period, while Tavares and Nyes logged 3 apiece. And so this situation of Toronto versus Detroit from last night was pretty big, and Sheldon Keefe's comments on the matter don't make things any more easy to stomach. I mean, there are a bunch of videos going around of Sheldon Keefe going out there and calling the guys out. There are some edits being made. Even Sid Seixeiro went out there and said this, yeah, within the last 7 days, William Nylander signed a $92 million deal, was voted into the All-Star game, and got called out publicly by his head coach. Never a dull moment. But now the plot thickens as we head into tonight's game against the Detroit Red Wings. Here's an article by Nick Barden from an hour ago going over Sheldon Keefe's pregame notes. He says, I think the message was sent in regards to benching the John Tavares line at the end of the Avalanche game last night. Here's the quote from Sheldon Keefe that John Tavares took the benching fine. Keefe followed up by saying he didn't speak with Tavares about the reasoning, but that it was communicated by the amount of ice time. I think the message was sent. John knows it wasn't his best last night, but he'll be good tonight. There also were a few extra things, some extra injuries that were talked about too, which is why there's a bit of roster movement. Ilya Samsonov is also going to start, so a lot of Leafs fans have so much confidence heading into tonight's game. But either way, this is all just the recap of what happened last night, and I thought it'd be interesting to go out there and make a video about it one day after the fact, just so we can get the extra comments here and response from these guys. So last night it wasn't good in Toronto. Bad loss, bad choke, bad performance out of that Tavares, Bertuzzi, Nylander line. Sheldon Keefe did not take well in the media to that Tavares duo in the post-game presser. He called them out, but now heading into tonight's game, Sheldon Keefe says everything is all right. John Tavares is going to be better, and hopefully that reflects onto the score sheet. Now, I personally am a Red Wings fan, so I would be okay if the Leafs still sucked. It would be some pretty good drama to eat some popcorn while watching, but either way, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about last night's Toronto and Colorado game. If you think that Sheldon Keefe was a little bit too harsh on everything that went down, and what are your thoughts on the game heading into tonight? There are some extra things to be wary of, the weather particularly, which is why this game is being pushed back 30 minutes, but either way, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.